mooting at university. I had to go down to London for the moot. I was so nervous because it took place in the evening that I had to have a lot of wine before I was able to take part in the debate. Now, it's of course much better, much harder for the contestants this afternoon because they won't have the benefit of having wine. Now, I'm in a slightly nostalgic mood because driving here went past a lot of the places that I hadn't been to for a very long time. Places which I looked at during my youth. Some were still there, others no longer there. Same this morning when I was driving through Repulse Bay. Life seemed much simpler in those days, in the 50s and 60s. And a lot of people say, particularly a lot of old people, actually, I'm old. Anybody got my age? 50, wrong. 58, that's right. Life seems simpler then. Life is much more complicated now. The world is much more complicated. Politically, and it is right, actually. Politically, socially, economically. It's more complicated simply because there are more people. In Hong Kong, things are complicated by a lot of debates which go on. You turn on the TV, everybody has a point of view. You turn on the TV, you hear a lot of politicians speak. Now, I don't think politicians, most of them, are very good speakers. And this is my theme for this afternoon as a keynote speech. The power of speech, the importance of oral speech cannot be overemphasized in this. A lot of us prefer to do things in writing simply because you don't address an audience. But the power of speech, the power to persuade an audience or individuals by looking them in the eye, engaging with them in a dialogue, can't be underestimated. Because I think this is what we're talking about when we are talking about the power of persuasion. Now, of course, when I'm talking about public speech, I'm not talking about drama. Drama, you just go and see a play. I'm talking about the need and the power of persuasion. At some times in your life, you're going to need to persuade people, either one-on-one, or a group of people, or a whole audience of people, or, if you're the President of the United States, a whole nation of people. Now, you can do this in writing, but it's not even half as effective as doing it orally, looking somebody in the eye. I'm looking at the girl in the fourth row with glasses who's looking at me. I'm looking at her directly and engaging in a conversation. I could be looking at anybody and engaging in a conversation. The power of speaking, and this is where debating comes in, is the engagement between the audience and the speaker. And there's really nothing like it. You can't do this in writing. Because one of the great advantages of engaging in public speaking, I'm looking at the lady who's got the camera now, because you can engage someone directly like this. And the importance of a debate is that views are exchanged. You can put forward your point of view with reasons, of course, and in a debate, other points of view come across so that you can deal with it. And that's how you persuade people, not by speaking, not by writing 100 pages, but by engaging them in a conversation where you're trying to persuade someone of your point of view. That person is asking you or can question your position. I mean, I looked at the debate. I mean, the finals debate is going to be over something quite topical and important about whether there should be free university education. Now, this is there are arguments for and against, and this is where the debate comes in. You have to persuade not just by talking, but persuade by being questioned on your position. And that is a lesson for life, that when you're engaging in a serious conversation, you are seeking to persuade someone of your position. Now, of course, some people just speak for no reason at all. I mean, they just speak. They don't necessarily want to be understood. Gossiping is not one way of trying to, well, I suppose there is. I suppose you're trying to persuade someone of something. But I'm talking about serious conversations of persuasion. Now, I've been trying to persuade all my professional life, because I started life as a lawyer. So there you need to persuade the court or to persuade judge or judges of your position for the sake of your client, either your client's freedom or your client's money, and so on. I retired from being a lawyer some time ago. I retired in 2001 when I became a judge. Now I don't spend too much time speaking, except to talk about topics which are such as the independence of the judiciary, the rule of law, which is of significant interest in Hong Kong. The way this topic usually arises for me these days is that people like to ask me, they like to ask, I think, people in public positions. Sorry, I'm used to using this. They ask me about what I think of the future. They ask me about 2047, what I think will happen. I always tell them, as indeed I tell you, that I'm extremely optimistic about the future. Now, you look at what goes on in TV, you look about, you know about Occupy Central and all that, and you think you can be forgiven for thinking that Hong Kong is in a mess. Now, you've got to take a step back, I always think, and look at the wider picture, and to look at what economists call fundamentals. As far as Hong Kong is concerned, you look at history, particularly the second half of the last century, you look at the growth of Hong Kong, you ask yourself the question of what it is that enabled Hong Kong to be what it is today, which is, on any account, a real success story economically, and I'd like to think politically and legally. And the answer to this is why the success is the maintenance of institutions that have served Hong Kong well. Now, before 1997, Hong Kong was a British colony. The Sino-British joint declaration, which was made in 1984 between the British and the Chinese governments, resulted in the Basic Law. The Basic Law has a number of themes running through it. One of the main themes is the maintenance or the continuation of those institutions that serve Hong Kong well. The economy, the system of government, and that institution with which I am mostly concerned, and that is the judiciary, which means the rule of law. And when we talk about the rule of law, I'm not going to bore you with it, one's talking about the independence of the judiciary. And this was an aspect, the independence of the judiciary, the rule of law, which appears in the Basic Law. It was seen as an institution that served Hong Kong well before 1997, and, as we have seen, has served Hong Kong well after 1997. The importance of the rule of law and an independent judiciary that goes with it, going with it, is that it provides the base for everybody's existence in Hong Kong, whether you're just living here or if you think in terms of big business and the economy. It provides the necessary foundation to enable Hong Kong to thrive and prosper. Now, it is a fundamental aspect such as the rule of law, because law is the foundation of really all activity in a society, that enables Hong Kong to function now as it enabled Hong Kong to function successfully in the past, before 1997. And this will be exactly the same as Hong Kong in the future, the Hong Kong that I think most of you will be living in the years to come. And when we get to 2050, 2047, when a lot of people are worried about what's going to happen, I have every confidence that as we maintain the institutions that we cherish, like the rule of law and the judiciary, that this will mean that Hong Kong will be as successful, as free, and as politically correct. I mean, politically correct not in the usual sense, but in the legal sense. It will be everything, to put it crudely, will be all right. That's my view of it. I mean, by 2047, I'm trying to calculate how old I'll be, but quite a lot. But in 2047, it will be your world. It is a world, or it is a Hong Kong, in which I have great confidence. Now, I'm not sure I've probably exhausted my 20 minutes. I'm actually looking forward to the next part, which is the exhibition debate. But I just wanted to sort of leave by saying thank you to the organizers for inviting me. It's going to be a pleasurable afternoon, and I look forward to it and enjoying it right now. Thank you.